I want to also take a moment to recognize our public officials who have taken the time to participate with us today. And starting at the level of the U.S., we're glad to have Representative Sylvia Garcia here, and also U.S. Representative Lizzie Fletcher. We welcome you to be here. We're honored by the presence of Judge Lena Hidalgo of Harris County, and the Harris County District Clerk Marilyn Burgess is also here as well. And we're joined by Texas Representative Ann Johnson and Representative Christina Morales and Texas Representative Alma Allen. There you are. And on behalf of Senator Texas Cruz, Jason Fuller is here with us today, and we appreciate and you honor us with your presence here. Now, please. Now it's my great honor to introduce our Mayor, Sylvester Turner.
Thank you, Bob, and let me take this special note of thanking Bob. I think this may be one of his last official acts before he retires from his management of the Downtown Management District. So I certainly want to acknowledge and thank Bob Urey. And then, of course, you'll be hearing from Frank Stohl and Chief Pena and Chief Fenner. I do want to, again, acknowledge all of our U.S. congressional members for being present. This is a special moment, and quite frankly, they could be in a number of places throughout the country. The very fact that you're here this morning is very meaningful for the city of Houston. So to Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia, thank you so very much. For Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher, thank you for being present. And I also believe we do have representative from Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, and Commander Brooks is representing the Congresswoman. Okay, so thank you so very, very much. And again, from our state level, for our state representatives, and I know they've gone through a number of specials and look at another special. So thank you all for being present. It means a great deal. For those on our county level, county officials, Judge Lena Hidalgo, thank you so very, very much. I really have enjoyed working with you. So thank you all for the county level. I do want to make note that before I began, on that day, September 11, 20 years ago, former Secretary of Education Rod Page was with the President when he got word of the planes that had attacked the Twin Towers. So Secretary Rod Page, it's an honor to have you with us this morning. Thank you, Secretary. Let me say good morning to everyone, and thank you for attending today's important commemoration of the 20th anniversary of September 11th attack on our nation. Today we look to the future while remembering the past. Bells are tolling across the nation as we mark a dark day in the mournful yet hopeful ceremonies such as the one here today in Market Square Park. And let me just say, on a day where we are reflecting back, the fact that there's not a cloud in the sky on a very beautiful day in the city of Houston speaks to where we are today and where we are going. There are literally 2,977 names that are being called out all across our country, and in their memory, we are assembled here this morning. 20 years ago, in an instant, our world changed forever. And I believe each and every one of us can recall where we were at that very special moment. Terrorists hijacked 4 commercial airplanes. 2 of the planes were flown into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, and a 3rd one into the Pentagon. A 4th, United Flight number 93, was being redirected towards Washington, D.C. It was the only one of the 4 hijacked aircraft that failed to reach the terrorist's intended target that day. Passengers and crew members on the flight had heroically prevented the hijackers from reaching their intended target. And quite frankly, we owe each and every one of them an eternal sense of gratitude for their heroism. In those horrifying and final moments, the passengers and crew showed what it means to be an American. Unity, courage, defiance in the face of adversity. Sadly, all 40 heroes were lost when the crash landed on an empty field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. By the time it was over, the hijackers had killed 2,977 people in the deadliest terrorist attack on American soil. But it's not just about numbers, because these 2,977 represented families, husbands and wives, mothers and fathers. We watched in disbelief and shock as our seemingly safe shores were touched by terror. When that shock wore off, we came together as Americans, and a remarkable spirit of unity arose from the tragedy of that day. And I'll never forget, on that day and in the days and months thereafter, this country came together like never before. My dad used to always say that a house divided against itself cannot stand. But on that day, and the days and weeks and months thereafter, it didn't matter what your political persuasion was. It didn't matter where you came from or your language or your religion. America stood as one. We will not forget the innocent loss. We will not forget the brave acts of everyday Americans. And we will not forget the courage of the men and women, those firefighters, police officers, medical personnel, private citizens who risked and gave their lives in the response to the emergency calls. I ask all Houstonians to join our fellow Americans so that in unity, we as a nation will stop and remember those lives lost on 9/11. If you will, please join with me in a moment of silence and pray for our country, and pray that we never forget, we'll always remember, and that America will stand as one. Thank you. I want to thank the family of Lauren Catuzzi Grandcolas for turning their grief into a lifetime commitment of serving others. Through the Lauren Catuzzi Grandcolas Foundation, over 100 scholarships have been awarded to graduating high school girls to attend college in the last 20 years. In addition, the foundation has provided financial assistance for women and children healthcare institutions, leaving a legacy of hope, inspiration, perseverance, and love. None of us will ever forget September 11, 2001. We all remember exactly where we were, what we were doing, and how we felt. Today, let us remember those whose lives have been transformed forever, families who will never be the same. There may be some in the audience today or watching on television who lost a friend or family member. On behalf of the city of Houston, our prayers are with you as you remember and grieve on the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attack. And God bless the families, the heroes, the survivors. But it's my hope and prayer that God will bless our country, that we will look deep within ourselves and remember, regardless of who you're sitting next to, regardless of what people look like, regardless of their political persuasions or their religion, as America, we are as one.
Thank you, Mayor, so much for your very thoughtful and so sincere words on this occasion. It's my pleasure at this point to introduce Frank Stohl, who's a member of the Lauren Catuzzi Catuzzi Grandcolas Foundation, who's going to speak to us on behalf of the foundation. As I said earlier, Larry and Barbara Catuzzi are up in Pennsylvania, and we're so pleased that Frank is with us today. Frank.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Mayor, beautiful comments. Jason, beautiful job singing earlier. My name is Frank Stohl, and I'm representing the Lauren Catuzzi Grandcolas Foundation today. And on behalf of, we call him Coach, Larry Catuzzi, and Barbara Catuzzi, his lovely wife. They've known each other their entire lives. They send thanks for your support today, for being here. Her family, as Bob's mentioned, parents, sisters Vaughn, Loic, and Darren, they're all in Somerset County today, with others who are memorializing at that site. Where 40 passengers and crew perished while heroic actions took place to overcome the hijackers, thus averting additional casualties and destruction. They were heroes. The family sends their heartfelt thanks to all of you at this event today, and those honoring the events and victims of 9/11 all over the world. So Lauren was a Houstonian. She graduated from Stratford High School out west in the Spring Branch Independent School District, and then the University of Texas at Austin. Lauren was beautiful. She was full of energy, compassion, and determination. Her family referred to her as their maverick. Lauren would go scuba diving and skydiving, and she'd kind of talk people into skydiving without giving it any thought, and people feel like, now how did that happen? She really tricked me into that, but she was just that way. She was dedicated to fitness. And like her surviving family members, Lauren was blessed with a heart full of love for others. Lauren was dedicated to her family, her friends, causes important to her, and nurturing the unborn child she carried on the day of the attacks. A project Lauren was working on at the time of her death was a book inspiring women to do anything they set their mind to. Lauren's sisters, Vaughn and Dara, completed the book as a tribute to Lauren, directing proceeds to the Girl Scouts of America, a group that Lauren greatly admired. This is the book. You Can Do It. The Merit Badge Handbook for Growing Up Girls, for grown-up girls. So Lauren put together a lot of things that women can strive to achieve and reward themselves for. Also, the foundation has, the Grandcolas Foundation was established 20 years ago in Lauren's memory, and has benefited over 100 young women across the country determined to attend college with scholarships. The Lauren Catuzzi Grandcolas Foundation has also benefited several hospitals, including the critical care nursery here at Texas Children's Hospital. So Lauren's family again sends their thanks to the City of Houston for the continued care of Lauren's garden, which was gifted to the city by the foundation. And let us never forget Lauren Catuzzi Grandcolas, or the nearly 3,000 human beings who died as a result of the attack of terror that took place on September 11th, 2001. God bless those departed souls. God bless you all, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate the kind remarks. I want to take just a moment to recognize Sam Merchant, who's here representing Congressman Al Green. Thank you. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our police chief, Chief Troy Finner. I must say that when Mayor, you appointed him chief. I think we were delighted. We've had just years and years and years of working together, and I feel so good about his appointment and his leadership role within the department. So, Chief Turner.
Hey, thank you all for your leadership, Mayor, our elected officials, and the distinguished guests. Could you just real quickly look to your right, look to your left, and see the beauty of our great city? I'm honored to be here today. No matter where you were, if you were that age to remember 9/11, 2001, you never forgot it. And we should acknowledge and also honor all those who paid that price, because all of our nation was affected. But one thing I want us to remember, the same threats that were there then are here today. And as a police chief, it's so important that we see we're one family, one city, one county, one state, one great nation, and we simply have to come together. There was a lot of pain back then, but I want to focus on the greatness and the beauty of our great nation, how people stand up and they come together and they move forward. And this is what we have to do today. I want to acknowledge and thank our military, our first responders, my brothers and sisters from the fire department, our police officers, and I want to say to the first responders, let's get away from the negative noise and let's look at what we're here for. Just as officers and firefighters and other individuals ran into those towers to save people and other people were running away, it's the same thing we do every day. And I just want to say how proud I am and so grateful. And to this foundation, thank you for the family. This is a great city, and what a beautiful morning. Thank y'all, and I'm honored to be here. Love y'all.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate so much your leadership. And let me also introduce another leader who I'm deeply fond of, and that is Chief Sam Pena, who heads our fire department. We have great respect for both you and really appreciate working with your team as we go about business of making our city safe. Chief, please join us.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, everyone. It is my distinct honor to be here amongst all these heroes represented by the Houston Fire Department, Houston Police Department, the municipal workers that are also out here serving each and every day. I want to say thank you to my boss and mayor of this great city, and my friend Mayor Turner for being here, as well as my partner in public safety, and my brother Troy Finner for always having our back, certainly. I want to acknowledge all the dignitaries that are here from the U.S. congressional delegation to our state delegation. Thank you guys for the support that you all provide for first responders each and every day. 9/11 was a pivotal moment in our nation's history. And it's a moment that changed the way we live our daily lives in so many ways. And even 20 years removed today, those memories, for those of us who lived through that day, are etched in our memories. The Houston Fire Department and public first responders, we remember the 343 firefighters and paramedics that rushed into those towers as people were pouring out. We remember the 23 New York City police officers, the 37 Port Authority officers, 125 civilian and military personnel at the Pentagon that perished, and the nearly 3,000 civilians that died that day, including in that fateful flight 93. We, as first responders, I've been doing this for 27 years, and I think the men and women that are standing back there can attest to this notion, is that in our career, there are a few instances where you arrive on scene and you see what's going on and you think to yourself, this one is going to be bad. I have no doubt in my mind that those men and women that responded in their fire trucks, in their patrol cars, when they arrived at those towers, they were thinking that exact same thing. And yet they still got out of their trucks, they got out of their patrol cars, and rushed in as people were rushing out. That is the meaning of duty. That is the meaning of service. And if we take anything from that moment, and I apologize if I get a little choked up, but if we take anything from that moment, it's the notion, other than the memories and remembering those that died that day, and the thousands of men and women that have died fighting our nation's wars since that day, over the last 2 decades, if we take anything else from that moment, it should be the meaning of service, the idea of service, the idea of giving something back to our communities. Service is really at the heart of happiness and community. So if we take anything from that moment, other than remembering those lives that were lost, it is to give back each and every day. I leave you with that notion. I leave you also with the notion that we are all so proud of the work that the men and women, our first responders, our emergency response personnel, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, police officers, municipal workers, that you all do every day. We cannot say enough about the work that you do, the commitment that you have for your community, and the love you have for your fellow man. And I think that's an indication of what we are as Americans. So with that, let's vow to remember those that we lost on 9/11, but also make a commitment to rebuild and move forward. God bless our first responders. God bless the city of Houston, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I think these remarks so beautifully sort of brought together what we're here today and what it's about. And I'd like to just take a moment of privilege here. Please, would you all acknowledge our first responders, which sort of wrap around us here. Thank each and every one of you who are attending today. We're so honored with your presence. As we come to the end of this program, Mayor Turner and Frank Stohl will place a wreath in Lauren's garden, a ritual that symbolizes the beauty and the brevity of the lives lost on September 11th. As inscribed in the garden's walk, if you'll notice, are the words of the poet Mary Oliver. And just to take just the last sentence from it, doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? So thank you again for joining us, and we appreciate you being with us and your support, and more importantly, we appreciate all of the public servants and first responders who we celebrate this day. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
hacia atrás tantito. Ahí, perfecto.
Okay, guys, how's my hair?
Very good.
How's my hair? You all are bad. Even if it looked awful, you would tell me it was fine. That's what all men do.
No.
You look fine.
But es que if we say the truth, hey, they're gonna get upset or
No,
some
porque
mad, you
tú
know.
no te mortificas.
Ni churros.
Check.
¿Cómo estamos?
Okay.
Bien.
Perfecto.
Listo.
Bueno, algo muy conmemorativo hoy, ¿no? Celebramos.
Bueno, pues es un día muy serio, ¿no? Porque hoy es el aniversario de ya 20 años del día tan horrible y tan feo que pasó en nuestro país en el ataque en 20 años pasados en este día. Es un ataque de terroristas internacionales, así es que es un día muy horrible y tenemos que conocer que todavía hay peligros, ¿no? Todavía hay peligros y todavía es posible que podamos tener otro ataque, así es que tenemos que hacer todo lo posible para asegurar nuestro país y también no olvidar lo que pasó este día. Así es, hoy tengo las familias y las personas que sufrieron tanto en este día, 20 años pasados, en mis oraciones y espero que tengan un día significativo y serio, ¿no?
A muchos nos cambió la vida desde entonces, ¿no?
Sí, yo estaba en Washington, allí visitando y todavía hoy cuando tocaron en mi puerta, porque yo estaba en un hotel ahí cerca de la Casa Blanca y vinieron, tocaron la puerta y me dijeron que me tenía que salir, que todos teníamos que estar, los evacuaron. Así es que yo también estuve, bueno, pues con miedo y pues pensando qué iba a pasar, porque todo el mundo no sabía qué iba a pasar enseguida, ¿no? Porque al momento pasó lo que